Okay, hello. So welcome to a new episode of Steven Talks. I'm sorry that it is taken so long for me to make a new one. I don't know why I got out of it, but I want to get back into it, so I'm going to start doing this. Try to post a new episode every Wednesday. We'll see how that works out. But today we're going to be talking about Harold Ramis, and I'm sure if everyone's been following the news, he just recently died a couple days ago, and I felt like this new episode was going to be about Harold Ramis. I had the honor of meeting the man in 2009, June of 2009. They did a Chicago premiere. I think it was actually the world premiere. I think it was the day before the LA premiere of Year One, which was his last movie that he directed, and my friend at the time had won a radio contest where he got 2 tickets to go see Year One, and he asked me to go with him. And I got to meet him, first off, at the premiere, which was at the Music Box Theater in Chicago, if you guys want to look it up or anything. They did this really cool, like, 5-minute tribute video to him where they went through all the movies that he wrote or directed or starred in, and then they gave him a comedy achievement award, and they gave that to him, and he came up on stage and talked for a little while. Then we saw the movie, which, honestly, I think Year One was a horrible movie. I mean, it's kind of sad that was his swan song. That was the last movie he directed, because he did direct a lot of movies, a lot of great movies, which we'll get into in a minute. But after the movie, my friend and I the whole time we were just kind of like, oh, is he gonna be in the back, signing autographs, this and that. And I was kind of like, he's probably going to leave. I can't believe he'd actually stay here. And at the end of the show, he was still there, and he stood in the lobby. I have no idea how long he stood there, but he stood in the lobby, and just talked to his fans. He talked to his fans. He, took pictures with them. He signed autographs, and he did all of this for free. It's not like he was standing there and being like, no, you need to give me money, or, have a booth or some shit and be like, $20 an autograph, $20 a picture, something like that. He was a really cool guy, and he actually signed my Ghostbusters. I'll always remember what day I met him, because Ghostbusters came out on Blu-ray that day. I had actually bought it that morning before we went to the movie, and he signed my Blu-ray. And he was just really cool. He took a picture with me for free, and we talked for a few seconds, and that was it. We moved on. I left with my friend and everything, and Dan Aykroyd actually signed this later on too. But he was a really cool guy. I mean, for the few seconds that I conversed with him, he was a really, really cool guy. I didn't really know what to say to him, but my friend actually talked to him about Ghostbusters 3, which at the time he was just like, oh, it's in full swing, it's going forward. And sadly, it's probably not going to happen anymore, and honestly, it doesn't need to happen anymore. I mean, one of the stars is dead. Just let it die. We don't need another Ghostbusters now. I was very much looking forward to it. Unfortunately, they didn't make it before, obviously, Harold Ramis died. So they needed to let it die. Just we don't need it anymore. Bill Murray shouldn't have been dragging his feet on the whole subject, and because he did, we're never going to see it, which is fine. I've been hearing a lot of people being like, oh, well, what's the new direction for Ghostbusters 3? There doesn't need to be a Ghostbusters 3, okay? It's done and over with, okay? They had their window of opportunity, and they didn't do it, and they don't need to anymore, okay? So move on. What I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the man and his body of work. I'm going to go through a bunch of his movies. I'm going to talk about him. Okay. He directed. He was a director. He was an actor. He was a writer. I think he was mainly a writer. Yeah, he's got a lot of writing credits. Forgive me, I am scrolling through IMDb to do this little review here. So, first up is Caddyshack, which he directed and he wrote as well. I wasn't a fan. Most people, when I say that, they're just like, "Oh my God, you don't like Caddyshack?" I just don't get it. like, I don't understand why it's funny. Like, the humor is much different from other movies I saw in the 80s, even from those same guys, and I was just not a fan of Caddyshack. I've tried many times to get into it. I don't even think the stuff that people quote is all that funny. Bill Murray is, I'll say he's funny, but that role is just, I don't know. I guess it's funny. I guess maybe I was spoiled to the, how he played that role before I even saw the movie, you know, because I saw references to it in other movies or TV shows or whatever, so I wasn't, you know, I don't know, I wasn't privy to that. So, it is what it is. Also, I'm seeing here, I didn't even realize he wrote Animal House as well, and that's another late 70s movie that I just wasn't a fan of. Like, I don't know, there's certain movies in the 80s and the 70s that people consider comedy classics, and I was just kind of like, I don't really like it. Animal House and Caddyshack are definitely two of those. Also, another one is Stripes. You guys are going to kill me because these are considered comedy classics, and I just am not a huge fan of them. I'm not saying they're bad movies, because they're not. It's just that I don't find them funny. I don't find them entertaining. But to each his own. I mean, everyone is entitled to like what they like. I like some of the stupidest shit in the world. Other people also like stupid shit. You know, it's all opinion. So, just not really a huge fan. A movie that he directed that I really did like was National Lampoon's Vacation. That movie is really, really funny. I think Chevy Chase is definitely on the top. Excuse me. Sorry. I knew that was coming. Alright, but anyway, I think Chevy Chase is on the top of his game. It spawned a huge franchise. A great franchise, too. And Harold Ramis was at the helm of the beginning, you know. I mean, he was very, very... the movie was very, very good. When I say he was very, very good, he wasn't even in the movie. So, yeah. He was also on SCTV, which I'm going to be honest, I've never seen SCTV. I know that a lot of people came from there, John Candy, Rick Moranis, but I've never seen an episode or anything from it, so I can't really comment on that. So it looks like Stripes was his first acting role in a movie. And Animal House was the first movie he wrote. He also wrote Meatballs. I didn't know that. I've never seen Meatballs, so I can't really comment on that. Caddyshack, Stripes. And then Ghostbusters, which was his next acting role, I think. Well, let's see. Yeah. Yep. So he was in Ghostbusters, which I think to most people that's what they'll remember him from. He was Dr. Egon Spangler. I just watched the movie actually a few hours ago. Is a little tribute to him, and you know, he actually is fantastic in that movie. I mean, he plays that role so well. He's got the role down pat. You know, he's really good in the role. Everyone's good in that movie. Ghostbusters is probably one of the best comedies of the '80s, and it's one of the best comedies of all time, in my opinion. All four of those guys really play off of each other very well, mainly the three core, before Winston was added in later in the movie. Those three, I mean, you believe that they're friends, and probably because they were friends. I mean, I'm not saying they weren't, but I mean, they play it very well. So yeah, there's a movie on here called Club Paradise that he directed after Vacation. Never saw that either. I've never even heard of that, so I can't really comment on that. He's been in a bunch of movies I've never seen, like Stealing Home, Baby Boom. I've never seen those movies. Ghostbusters 2, I guess Bill Murray didn't like Ghostbusters 2 after, you know, it came out and whatever, and I guess a lot of people kind of were let down by Ghostbusters 2, I guess is the word I want to say. And I don't know why. I loved Ghostbusters 2. I think Ghostbusters 2 was just as good as the first one. I think as a kid I saw Ghostbusters 2 more than I saw Ghostbusters 1. Which is beside the point. Ghostbusters came out the year I was born, so I was 5 when the second one came out. But I've always seen the second one. I think the second one's just as good as the first one. Better, probably not, but I'd say it's just as good. So that was acting. Let's see. Club Perry. He wrote something called Armed and Dangerous. I don't know what that is. Oh, he wrote Caddyshack 2. I've never seen Caddyshack 2, but I've seen the cover and I've seen the cast, and I'm just like, why? Why did they make that movie? I don't know. I'm just moving on. I've never seen it, so I can't talk about it. Interesting. Rover Dangerfield, which was Rodney Dangerfield's animated movie where he played a dog, which is a stupid movie, but it's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. It's a story developed by. Had no idea. I guess the next big thing in his career was Groundhog Day, which is another really great movie. I believe he directed that. He also wrote it, and he had a cameo in it. Yeah, directed. That was a great movie, and from what I heard, that was the movie that him and Bill Murray had a falling out on. And I don't think until the Ghostbusters game that came out in like 2009 or 2010, whenever that came out, I don't think that they ever worked together again. I could be wrong, but I think that's correct. It's too bad. That movie's really, really, really good. I'm kind of tired of it now because I used to see it all the time when I was a kid, and you know, you get tired of something if you see it over and over and over and over and over and over again. So yeah, I kind of just was like, whatever. And I haven't seen that movie in a long time. Years, I'm talking. So, yeah, that was his next big thing. Then, he had a bunch of cameos and stuff. He appeared in Airheads. If I remember correctly, he was one of the people who was trying to... he was a cop pretending to be a record producer. If I remember correctly, I think that was the role he played. Then he was in a movie called Love Affair, which I don't know what that is. As Good as It Gets, which I've never seen. High Fidelity, I saw. Well, this scene's deleted, but I saw that a long time ago. One role he played that I kind of forgot about was in Orange County. He appears as the dean in that movie, and I thought he played that role great because he played. He accidentally gets high, and he's just like this proper, you know, person. And then he gets high, and he's fucking hilarious. He also was in Knocked Up as Seth Rogen's dad, which I thought that was a really good role, too. Let's go back to his directing for a minute, because I did not know he directed Stewart Saves His Family, which I just recently watched probably a year ago, and that was a fucking horrible movie. In the 90s, SNL was cranking out movies based on characters from their show like this. I mean, like, just so fast. They did Coneheads, they did Stewart Saves His Family, It's Pat the Movie. I mean, they were just going nuts. And Wayne's World, too, of course. How could I forget that? Wayne's World was really high up here. Coneheads was, like, in the middle. And then Stewart Saves His Family and It's Pat the Movie are movies that people don't even remember today. I don't even think they made $1 million. It was very poor movies. Actually, my friend had never even heard of It's Pat the Movie, so... But Stewart Saves His Family was just so bad. It was on Netflix, I think, last year. I don't know if it's still on there or not, but it was so bad. And then he followed it up with Multiplicity, which, a movie I have not seen in a long time, starred Michael Keaton. I thought that movie was really good. I think that was a good movie to direct, and then he followed that up with Analyze This, which was a really good movie, so... he definitely was... he kind of took a dip and then kind of started going back to the top, and then he did Bedazzled, which I'm not sure if people like that or not. I enjoyed it. I thought it was an interesting movie. I don't think it was the best movie in the world. And then he did Analyze That, which I saw once a long time ago. I remember it being really bad, and I think most people thought it was really bad. And yeah. Then he did The Ice Harvest, which, again, I saw once, and I don't remember anything about it, so I can't really talk about that. And then he followed that up with Year One, which was a really stupid movie. And then he directed 4 episodes of The Office, so that was his last directing stuff. Looks like a lot of the movies, well, at least some of the movies he directed, he also produced. Let's see if there's anything else. So, I mean, I guess technically you can look at Ghostbusters, the video game from 2009, as Ghostbusters 3. It technically takes place after Ghostbusters. I think it takes place in 91, and all four of the actors, you know, Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson did the voices. So, I mean, it's not like, technically, I mean, it's a movie. It's an interactive movie. So that's Ghostbusters 3 for you. And that's right, I forgot he was also in year one. That was his last film acting that he did. Did he do any? No. I guess he was never on TV. I guess he wasn't on SCTV. I guess he just produced it or wrote it or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that was it. That's Harold Ramis for you guys. A genius among comedians, and you know, taken way too soon. 69. It's not incredibly young, but it's not old either by any means. When I met him, I mean, obviously it was 5 years ago, but when I met him, he was just so happy to get that award. I mean, he really was. The look on his face and whatever, and he was a good guy. As far as I can tell, I mean, from, like I said, from the seconds that I spoke with him, he was really nice. I mean, how many actors out there, or even writers, producers, directors, whatever, are going to go to some small little theater in Chicago to get an award, and then not only to get the award, but to stick around for the whole movie, and then stand in the lobby all night talking to your fans. So yeah, Harold Ramis, you're a great guy. You gave us some of the great classic comedies, even if I didn't care for some of them. They're still considered classics. And yeah, that's it. So thanks, guys. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.